Okay, physical science people, Mr. Cawley here. Your assignment for today is this skill sheet 6.2 on Newton's second law. If you did not watch the slide video from last week on Newton's three laws, you better stop, go back, and watch that video. You're going to be working with Newton's second law of motion, which is the equation force is equal to mass times acceleration. You can see that right here. Now the trick of this worksheet is actually a huge help for you. It just looks like it's complicated. Force equals mass times acceleration is the second law. These other two equations here are the same equation, they're just rearranged. If you're solving for force, it's arranged like this. Acceleration and mass are multiplied together. If you solve for mass, though, then it's force divided by acceleration. And if you're solving for acceleration, then it's force divided by mass. So it's all the same equation. It's all the second law. It's just a matter of which version of the equation do you use. So here's the example, The question asks how much force is needed. So right away I know I'm solving for force. That means I need this equation here arranged and set up to solve for force. How much force is needed to accelerate a truck with a mass of 2,000 kilograms and at a rate, or in other words, an acceleration of 3 meters per second squared. So in order to solve for force, they have to give me mass, which they do, it's 2,000 kilograms, and then they have to give me acceleration, which is 3 meters per second squared. Okay, remember that meters per second squared is the label, it's the unit. You do not have to square anything in your calculator. It's just 2,000 multiplied by 3, which gives us 6,000. And since we're solving for force, we end up with kilograms times meters per second squared, which thank goodness is just a Newton. Okay, you might want to put off to the side or somewhere in your notes, every time you solve for force, the units are going to be newtons. Every time you solve for mass, the units are going to be kilograms. And every time you solve for acceleration, the units are going to be meters per second squared. Remember, you get half your points from getting the right number, doing your math, and the other half your points or other point from getting the correct label. Okay, so for example, this next one here, what is the mass of an object? As soon as you know they're asking for the mass, then we have to use Newton's second law arranged in this way, force divided by acceleration. What is the mass of an object that requires 15 newtons, there's our force, to accelerate it 1.5 meters per second squared. So it's going to be force divided by acceleration. The force that they give us is 15 newtons, and the acceleration is 1.5 meters per second squared. When you divide those, you end up with a number 10. That gets you 1 point. And since we solved for mass, the units are kilograms. That gets you the second point, okay? Remember our four-step process. Figure out what are you solving for, what's the equation that goes with it, plug and chug, okay? And then find the correct label or unit at the end. This is posted in Canvas as a CAMI assignment, so go ahead and get in there and work through these using the four-step process and Newton's second law arranged in these three different ways. Good luck.